Hey, what's going on, guys? This Saturday is UFC Vegas 91, Matheus Nicolau versus Alex Perez, and this is going to be my full card predictions. I'm going to go through every single fight on the card and give you a quick breakdown and prediction. And this card is stacked from top to bottom with incredible fights. On paper, it's better than UFC 300, and that's facts. Nobody can disagree with that at all. I'm kidding. Why is the UFC still holding low-quality fight night cards in an empty warehouse 4 years after the pandemic? That's what I would like to know. So can somebody in the media please ask that to Dana White? But let's start off with the very first fight on the card. Hayisaer versus Gabriel Benítez. Hayisaer now has a last name. I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm not going to. You know, this is a matchup that I could see going either way. You know, Hayisaer lost to Vyacheslav Borishev in his last fight. Before that, lost to Rafa Garcia. He takes a lot of damage. He's very hittable. His last win was 2 years ago against Steve Garcia, which is kind of aged quite well. Gabriel Benítez coming off a loss against Jim Miller. Lost 3 out of his last 4. His last win was against Charlie Ontiveros, who's an absolute scrub. When I look at this matchup, I just see a younger guy in Hayisaer who's 24 years old. Gabriel Benítez, almost 36 years old, going on 36. I think he's slower. I think he's going to try to grapple. I think he's going to look to get takedowns, but he doesn't have the best grappling at all. He doesn't have very good striking either. He's not horrible, but he's not great either. And, you know, I just think Hayisaer is going to be quicker on the feet. I think he has the better striking. And I think he's super durable, too. I know he's been finished before. He got finished in his last fight, but he took some crazy shots in that fight. And I just think he's going to be faster. He's more dynamic. Gabriel Benítez is gritty. Don't get me wrong, but getting old, slowing down, got beat up by, you know, Jim Miller, who's, 40 years old at this point. Lost to David Onama, lost to Billy Q. Not horrible losses. I'm going to go Hayisaer to get it done. First round KO, quicker on the feet, nastier striking, good kicks. I think he gets it done over Gabriel Benítez. Moving up on the card, we have Ivana Petrović versus Liang. I'm not picking Liang. I'll tell you that much right now. She's on a 3-fight losing streak. Lost to JJ Aldrich. Got KO'd by ground and pound. TKO'd by ground and pound against JJ Aldrich. Fight before that, Silvana Gomez Juarez got brutally KO'd. Fight before that, got KO'd by Ariane Carnelossi. Her last win was outside the UFC against a girl who was 0-0. 0-0. That's crazy. Now, Petrović came into the UFC, lost to Luana Carolina. It was kind of a close fight. And, you know, she got outstruck in that fight. She got outworked in the clinch in that fight. She was looking for takedowns but couldn't find them. Liang is kind of just rushing forward sloppily on the feet. You know, has okay wrestling, okay grappling. I think she might be able to stuff some of the takedowns early. But she gasses herself out. She's not good anywhere. Honestly, I feel like they pulled her from a supermarket somewhere to start fighting in the UFC. I'm going to say Petrović gets it done. I'm going to say second round TKO. I think she gets her down, starts beating her up. Liang is trying to scramble. She's okay early, stuffing some of the takedowns, but she has no gas tank. She had some success in the JJ Aldrich fight. Even in the second round, I believe she was in top position before she ends up getting reversed and full mounted and destroyed. I think Petrovic's better. I think Petrović gets it done. I think Petrović, ground and pound TKO, second round. Liang, I mean, how could you pick her? She hasn't won a fight in 3.5 years, and her last win was against 0-0. The fight before that, against a girl who's 2-0, lost every fight in the UFC. Meanwhile, Petrović lost to Luana Carolina in her UFC debut. I think she's better overall. I think she'll utilize the grappling, get some top control, get some ground and pound, and TKO her in the second round. Moving up on the card. Well, this is actually a new fight that I did a little bit of research for right before I started to record this video. We have Llontop versus Chris Padilla. I forgot who it was originally. It was supposed to be Gabe Green instead of Chris Padilla. And I only watched a little bit on Padilla. Both these guys are kind of amateurish. Padilla, kind of a pressure fighter, looking for takedowns. I watched 2 or 3 of his fights on YouTube. Really wants to clinch to find the takedowns. Honestly, super amateurish. But Llontop, not that much better. Fought on Dana White's Contender Series. Got a decision win there against Malik Lewis at 6-1. Looked good. Had great cardio, great pressure, great volume. And I think that's what wins him this fight. I'm going to pick him to win this fight because his cardio seemed unbelievable. He's from Peru. I don't know if he still lives there. I think that's a high elevation, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong. His cardio was really good. He kind of, just broke the will of his opponent on Dana White's Contender Series. And He's decent on the feet. I think he's better than Chris Padilla on the feet. I think, I don't think he's going to blow him away on the feet, but I think he'll be, Padilla will look to clinch, and Llontop is actually, or Llontop, I think is actually his name. I typed it here. Yeah, Llontop is actually really good in the clinch and just relentless nonstop with pressure. So if Padilla can't get the takedowns and establish top control, I think he's going to get beat up in the clinch. I think he's going to slow down. I think he's going to be exhausted. And I'm going to pick Llontop to get it done. I'm going to say second round TKO. Finds a shot while Padilla's kind of up against the fence on a break, maybe an elbow as he exits the clinch. Llontop exits the clinch, drops him, finishes him with ground and pound. I'm going Llontop by finish, especially considering he has a nasty cardio, it seems. And Padilla's taking it on short notice for Gabe Green. I'm going Llontop, second round TKO. Moving up on the card, we have Ketlen Souza versus Marnic Mann. Yeah, this just screams Apex. This just screams Apex to me. Marnic Mann, I swear on my life, I think my fiance with no MMA experience would beat the dog shit out of her. Literally, right now. I would bet on my fiance to win a fight against Marnic Mann. She's horrible. She's atrocious. She's 6-2. She lost against Josine Knutson in her UFC debut where she didn't look good at all. Went to decision. Fight before that, LFA win against Amber Brown. Didn't look good there. And lost to Bruno Brazil in Dana White's Contender Series. Got head kick KO. Not horrible. Winning split decisions 2 years ago against a girl who's 1-1. Ketlen Souza lost to Karine Silva, who's on this card as well. Karine Silva's nasty. Before that, she's fighting in title fights in other organizations, and she's fought 5 rounds before. She's nasty on the feet. She's not like great, but she was an Invicta champ. She's well-rounded. How am I going to pick Marnic Mann? Again, I'm telling you right now, you go to the supermarket and you pick a random woman out at the supermarket. You put it in against Marnic Mann, it's 50-50. It's 50-50. It's even odds. I think Ketlen Souza is going to beat the brakes off her. Marnic Mann has shown a little bit of toughness, shown some toughness. So I'm going to pick Ketlen Souza to brutally TKO her in the second round as Marnic Mann spamming takedowns nonstop. Bloody nose, bloody eyes, getting busted up in the first round, but she somehow survives. But we know the writing's on the wall and she's going to get finished. Souza's not going to gas out. Has fought 5 rounds, Invicta champ. Beats her up, gets a finish in the second round. I'm going Ketlen Souza, second round TKO. Moving up on the card, Don'Tale Mayes versus Caio Machado. Some days I hate my life. I hope you guys appreciate these prediction videos because these fights are horrible. Do me a favor. Like the video. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Watch from beginning to end. Share the video. Don'Tale Mayes versus Caio Machado. Don'Tale Mayes put one of his opponents literally in the north-south position. I think it was Josh Parisian. And started humping his face. And I know Chandler's hoping Conor McGregor does that to him as well. Don'Tale Mayes is big, strong, shit everywhere, literally shit everywhere. Got outclassed by Rodrigo Nascimento and gave us a Rodrigo Nascimento main event, so I hate Don'Tale Mayes. Before that, a win over the dead corpse of Andre Arlovski. Before that, a loss to Augusto Sakai. Before that, I don't even care. Caio Machado lost to Mick Parkin in his last fight. Not horrible shame in that. This is a tough fight to pick, boys. Caio Machado is kind of undersized for the weight class, and Don'Tale Mayes, I think he cuts weight to get to 265. I almost said 165. Cuts weight to get to 265. And Caio Machado can be controlled in the clinch a bit. He has decent BJJ. He's kind of wild on the feet. I don't see him like brutally KOing Don'Tale Mayes. I think I could see Caio Machado winning like rounds 2 and 3, but I think Don'Tale Mayes, even though he has shit cardio, even though he has shit striking, even though he has shit clinch work, even though he's shit on the ground, he's crap basically everywhere. I think Caio Machado is undersized and he's not that great himself, coming from Dana White's Contender Series, fighting a guy who's 11-1, then lost to Mick Parkin where he got outworked in the clinch, outstruck. I'm going to say Don'Tale Mayes wins via decision in an absolute stinker. I'm going to say maybe it's like a 29-28 and it's an ugly decision and it could go either way and maybe Caio Machado wins the second and third round. But I've seen Machado get manhandled in the clinch, against Mick Parkin. I even think in his Dana White's Contender Series fight, he was controlled in the clinch a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to go Don'Tale Mayes to get it done via decision. Moving up on the card, We have Austen Hubbard versus Michal Figlak. Or Michal Figlak, I don't remember. Michal Figlak has a loss against Ferziem in his last fight. Been out for a while since then. That was a year and a half ago. That's crazy. You know, just got out-grappled in that fight. Ferziem, I think, is a lot better than people were giving him credit for. Before that, he's in Cage Warriors. Whenever I see Cage Warriors, I always want to pump the brakes a little bit because these Cage Warrior guys get way overhyped because they were in Cage Warriors. Oh, they were a former Cage Warriors champ. Oh my God, they're going to be champions in the UFC. Just not true. And historically, a lot of these Cage Warrior guys get exposed. But then you have Austen Hubbard, who got beat badly by Kurt Hullabo in his last fight, got finished by him. And then before that, fighting on The Ultimate Fighter. Austen Hubbard, 32 years old. I believe, I might be mistaken. I think, didn't he fight in the UFC before? I don't know. I'm not looking at his specific record in front of us. Maybe I'm getting mixed up with Hullabo. But he's okay. Not great anywhere. Not a great gas tank. His striking isn't great. I think he'll probably try to grapple in this fight. I think he's going to try to take Figlak down and grapple him. But I think Figlak's better on the feet. You know, I mean, he got out-grappled by Ferziem, but I don't think Austen Hubbard has that level of grappling, and he gets tired after a while, too. I mean, he's getting beat by Kurt Hullabo, who did he just lose to? Trey Ogden. Got outclassed by Trey Ogden. Yeah, I'm going Michal Figlak. I'm going to pick him to get it done. I'm going to say he beats him via decision, but it's a dominant decision. Figlak's been working on his takedown defense nonstop since he got out-grappled by Ferziem. He's 27 years old. Hubbard's 32, but looks like he's like 37. I'm going to go Figlak to get it done via decision, but I could also see him getting it done via TKO. I think he's far superior on the feet. As long as he can stuff the takedowns, he'll cleanly beat Austen Hubbard, in my opinion. Moving up on the card, the featured prelim. We have Rani Yahya versus Victor Henry. Victor Henry, I swear on my life, I think he faked an injury to his groin in his last fight to get out of the fight because he was losing. I know that sounds crazy, but I honestly believe that. And I'm not one to traditionally say that. Rani Yahya lost his last fight, got KO'd by Montel Jackson. Rani Yahya has some of the shittiest striking I've ever seen in my entire life, but he's a very good grappler. And he's honestly kind of small for bantamweight as well. Honestly, this isn't a hard pick. I have to go Victor Henry. I think he's better on the feet. I think anyone's better on the feet than Rani Yahya. In a street fight, I'm taking Rani Yahya on the feet, to be quite honest. And, you know, Yahya's damn near 40 years old. He's 39 years old, 4 months. So he's knocking on 40 years old at bantamweight. That's almost unheard of. Victor Henry's not too far behind him at 36, but competitive with Javid Basharat. Good, decent fight against Tony Gravely, where he stuffed off some takedowns, and I think Gravely's way stronger than Rani Yahya. Rani Yahya definitely has a BJJ advantage. Before that, lost to Rafael Sunsao. Okay, has a win over Hani Barcelos. I don't think Hani Yahya is going to be able to get a takedown and get it done. Maybe he gets one takedown, but Victor Henry's going to be too big, too strong, scramble right back up. I think Victor Henry gets it done via decision. Yahya isn't particularly I don't feel like, I'm not looking at his record right now, and I don't have it noted down how many times he's been finished, but he hasn't been finished by KO in the last, well, that was his last fight. He did get KO'd, but historically, he's not a guy getting KO'd. So he's been KO'd once in the last 5 years. Victor Henry's not known for his power. I'm going to go Victor Henry to get it done via decision. I think he wins 30-27, stuffing takedowns and landing on the feet. Moving up on the card, the first fight on the main card, Tim Means versus Uros Medic. The Dirty Bird Tim Means, who's coming off a win against Andre Fialho, the dead carcass of Andre Fialho, who ruined his career by being active and getting chinned fight after fight. Before that, lost to Alex Moreno, which looks like shit now. Before that, split decision loss to Max Griffin. Before that, a loss to Kevin Holland. Uros Medic is coming off a loss to, I can't pronounce his name, Mikbek Orabal. I gotta brush up on the pronunciation of that. But that guy looks like he's really good. His grappling's really good. His striking's really good. Before that, KO'd Matthew Semmelsberger. I believe he was losing that fight, actually, and got a spinning back fist later in the fight to get a win. Before that, a KO win over Omar Morales, which is okay. Before that, lost to Jalen Turner. The Dirty Bird is kind of durable. I got to be honest. The Dirty Bird, I think he can get it done here. But 40 years old. 40 years old for the Dirty Bird. He likes to strike. He's not some amazing grappler. Uros Medic has decent cardio, has good finishing ability. I'm going to pick Uros Medic to get it done. I'm going to say first round KO. But I could see it going longer. I could see Medich just winning a decision because Tim Means isn't like he isn't crazy chinny or anything. He normally gets submitted if he gets finished. But I'm going to go Medich. I think Medich is the far better striker. Tim Means leaves his chin there to be had. Tim Means goes out there to put on a performance. And I think he's going to pay for it against Medich. Medich is far more technical on the feet. I think he lights him up on the feet. I think he touches up the chin of the dirty bird, and puts him to sleep in the first round. I'm picking a lot of finishes on this card. I'm hopeful that it comes to fruition. I'm going Uros Medich via first round KO over the dirty bird. Moving up on the card, we have Jonathan Pearce versus David Onama. This is a very, very tough fight to predict. This is one of the better fights on the card. I'm really actually looking forward to this fight. Jonathan Pearce was beating Joe Anderson Brito in his last fight and then got ninja choked. I think in the late second round, won the first round with his grappling, won the second round with his grappling, and then boom, Brito just locks up a ninja choke in the second round to get the win. Deep ninja choke. But before that, long winning streak, beating Darren Elkins, which is a decent win, TKOing Makwan Amirkhani, justice for Mike Grundy. Win over Christian Rodriguez, which has aged quite well, who's like an anti-grappler. And submission win over Omar Morales. Meanwhile, David Onama win over Gabriel Santos, which I don't think a lot of people remember how good Gabriel Santos was. I think I even picked Santos in that fight. Brutally chinned him there with an uppercut. Before that, lost to Nate Landwehr where he got exhausted. It was a crazy fight. Before that, a win over Garrett Armfield, which has aged okay. Before that, a win over Gabriel Benítez, and doesn't really mean that much. Before that, a loss to Mason Jones. It's going to go one of two ways. Jonathan Pearce is going to out-grapple David Onama and gas him out and just dominate him in the grappling and probably win a decision or maybe find like a late round submission. Or David Onama is going to light him up badly on the feet. Because if David Onama can avoid those takedowns and get his confidence up, stuffing the first few takedowns, I think he's far superior on the feet and he has nasty power. He's crazy athletic. The speed is unbelievable. So basically, I'm either going Jonathan Pearce by decision or I'm going David Onama by KO. Who am I going to go with? Onama, 3-inch reach advantage. They're about the same height, a little bit of a height advantage for Pearce. Roughly the same age. According to Topology, Jonathan Pearce is actually a favorite in this fight. I could see him out grappling him. But I'm going to go David Onama. I was high on David Onama for a while there until he absolutely fumbled against Nate Landwehr. I think he can stuff the takedowns early, and I think he can chin Jonathan Pearce. But if he doesn't, I see him potentially losing like a 29-28 decision. But I'm going to go David Onama. Faster on the feet, brutal KO power, super athletic. I'm going to go David Onama to get a first-round KO over Jonathan Pearce. Nasty right hand, just sleeps him out cold or hurts him badly, finishes him off with TKO ground and pound. Jonathan Pearce is going to try to close the distance, especially early. Look for takedowns early. David Onama is going to know that. He's going to be a little bit more careful early, kind of conserve his energy. So if he has to fend off some of those takedowns up against the fence, and then late first round catches them with a shot and puts him to sleep. David Onama, first round KO. Moving up on the card, we got a name that is hard to pronounce. I believe it is Jhonata Diniz versus Austen Lane. Heavyweight matchup, dog shit heavyweight matchup. Who is going to win this matchup? Basically, you got Diniz, kind of a technical fighter for heavyweight, has good power. All 6 of his fights are knockout wins. Austen Lane coming off a KO loss against Justin Tafa, who's absolute dog shit. I actually picked Lane to win that fight. Lane is 36, but that doesn't really mean a whole lot for heavyweight. I think this is a fight that genuinely could go either way. Diniz coming off Dana White's Contender Series where he got a nasty KO win, hurt the guy multiple times, then finished him off, I believe, with a right hand. It was a right cross. Before that, just destroying low-level guys outside the organization in some organization called Immortal. 11-8 opponent, 1-0 opponent, 1-0 opponent. You know, it's hard to pick Austen Lane coming off a KO, but he did take 7 months off. Doesn't have a UFC win. Coming from Dana White's Contender Series. Has fought low-level competition as well. Basically, you have a plotty Diniz who has good power, who always has his hand glued up by his chin. Or you have a little bit more athletic Austen Lane. But Diniz throws decent kicks as well. Man, some of these picks, man, when you get to some of these really kind of low-level fights, I mean, it's heavyweight, so it's not that low-level for heavyweight, but it's still low-level. It's hard to make these predictions. I'm going to go Austen Lane. I'm going to pick Austen Lane to get it done. I think he has good movement. I think he's going to be very weary about getting KO'd. Diniz isn't particularly fast. He's kind of fat for heavyweight, but everyone at heavyweight's fat. And then, Austen Lane, 2-inch height advantage. I thought it would be actually bigger because Austen Lane's huge. And then only a 1/2-inch reach advantage, apparently. So that kind of makes me question it. But I think Austen Lane, better footwork, more athletic, faster on the feet, height advantage. I think, even though he's 36, it's at heavyweight. You can fight until you're 45 at heavyweight, basically. So I'm going to go Austen Lane to get it done, 2nd round KO. I think he's going to be cleaner on the feet. I think he's going to be very weary about getting caught like he did against Tafa. And I think some of these guys coming from Dana White's Contender Series, people act like they're so good. But, again, 7-1, 11-8, 1-0, 1-0, and 0-0. That's his last few opponents. I'm not trusting that. And while Lane's record isn't that much better, at least it's okay. 6-0, 6-3, 8-3 is his last 3 wins. That's his opponent's records. So I'm going to go Austen Lane to get it done. I'm going to say 2nd round KO. I think he has better kicks. I think he has better movement. I think he's more athletic. I think he will be faster as well. Not that Diniz is super slow or anything, but I'm going to go to Austen Lane to get it done in the 2nd round. Moving up on the card, the featured fight on the main card. Oh my God, what a barn burner. I actually like this fight. Karine Silva, Ariane Lipski. Karine Silva is an absolute savage. I like Karine Silva. All of her wins are via finish. She's super exciting in the flyweight division. She submitted Marina Moroz in her last fight. Before that, submitted Ketlen Souza early in that fight. Submission after submission after submission. She came off Dana White's Contender Series. She's 30 years old. Then you have Ariane Lipski, who I believe is improving. She's on a 3-fight winning streak. Beat Casey O'Neill by submission in her last fight. Before that, split decision over Melissa Gatto. Before that, a win over JJ Aldridge. Last loss against Priscilla Cachoeira, which is a horrible loss to have. But I think she's improved vastly since then. I think Karine Silva is just going to bulldoze her. Karine Silva's big. She's strong. She puts on the pressure. She has excellent grappling. And I think Lipski's going to try to play that game where she's circling, and just throwing combinations, throwing kicks. Karine Silva's going to find a shot that hurts her, or, there's going to be some weird exchange where Lipski ends up slipping down on the ground. Boom, Karine Silva ties her up, starts looking to work a submission. I'm going to pick Karine Silva. I'm going to say 1st round submission. She has all finishes. I have to pick Silva by finish. I'm going to pick her via 1st round submission. I'm going to say guillotine. I'm going to say she gets it done via guillotine, tries to take Lipski down in a scramble, gets her down to a knee. Lipski's trying to use the cage to get back up and then finds herself in a guillotine, something along those lines. I think Karine Silva is a nasty prospect in the women's flyweight division. I think she has nasty jiu-jitsu. I think she has decent enough striking. I think Lipski might have a slight advantage, but I think Karine Silva has a power advantage. And Lipski's never been submitted, so she's been TKO'd a couple times, so I've thought about picking her via TKO. But I'm going to go Karine Silva to get it done via 1st round guillotine. I just think Karine Silva is way better than Ariane Lipski. Moving up on the card to the co-main event, we have Ryan Spann versus Bogdan Guskov. The battle of the light heavyweight bums. Oh, man, I'm telling you, a lot of these fights on this card are tricky. Ryan Spann coming off a loss against Anthony Smith, the dead carcass, Spinneroonie carcass of Anthony Smith. Well, the Spinneroonie was after that. But that was actually a close fight, but Ryan Spann looked horrible in that fight. Before that, got finished by Nikita Krylov. Last win was against Dominic Reyes, who's also a dead body. Before that, against Iwan Kutalaba as well. So his last 2 wins out of his last 5 fights have been against dead bodies. He's fought nothing but dead bodies outside of Nikita Krylov. It's Anthony Smith twice, Dominic Reyes, and Iwan Kutalaba. But Bogdan Guskov, win over Zach Paunga, KO'd him. Nasty combination. Was losing before that, but not like crazy. It was not like he was getting outclassed. It was a competitive fight. Before that, lost to Volkan Ozdemir. Looked good early, but then started to gas out. And then he's fighting outside the organization against guys. I mean, one of these guys is 20-10, but another guy's 4-1, 7-2. They both have big power. Ryan Spann has decent wrestling. I don't know if this is just a crazy recency bias. I don't know if I can pick Ryan Spann after that performance against Anthony Smith. I just don't know if I can pick him. So I'm going to go Bogdan Guskov. This is going to be a crazy pick. He has nasty power, but so does Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann's also massive for light heavyweight. But I think I picked Bogdan Guskov against Volkan Ozdemir. If I'm going to pick him against Volkan Ozdemir, even though he lost, he got submitted. He gassed out. Ryan Spann's a one-punch KO guy in the first round as well. Someone's getting KO'd in the first round. I'm going Bogdan Guskov to get it done in the first round. Likes to brawl, very hittable. So you might have a exchange, like a Iwan Kutalaba type exchange, you know, he's historically known for doing that, where Guskov's rushing in, clipping him with shots, and then maybe he gets countered with a big shot and Spann KOs him. But I could see the opposite for Ryan Spann. Ryan Spann will rush and slip on the ground and get submitted. So I think he did it against Anthony Smith in the first fight. So I'm going to go Bogdan Guskov to get it done. First round KO. I can't pick Ryan Spann after he looked like absolute trash against the dead carcass of Anthony Smith. Even though I think I might have scored that fight for him. Still looked like shit. I'm going Bogdan Guskov. Nasty, brutal first round KO. First 2 minutes of the fight. Catches Spann on the chin. Guskov loves the brawl. And he has nasty power. I think he finds the chin of Spann. I think he's the better overall striker than Spann as well. So I'm gonna go Guskov to get it done via KO. Moving up on the card to the main event. Matheus Nicolau versus Alex Perez. Or Alex Perez. I'm saying Alex now because Alex Pereira. Guys, this is main event. This is main event 2024. What is the UFC anymore? I'm going Matheus Nicolau. I'm not picking Alex Perez coming off 3 losses. I mean, lost to Muhammad Mokaev. Some people thought he won. They're delusional. Got out-grappled there. Fight before that got submitted by Alexandre Pantoja. Fight before that got submitted by Davison Figueiredo for the title. That was 3.5 years ago. So you're going back 3 fights 3.5 years ago. His last win was 3 years, 10 months ago. That's 2020. That's 2020, the last time Alex Perez won a fight. Matheus Nicolau's coming off a loss against Brandon Royval, got caught with a big knee and got finished. Before that, a KO win over Matt Schnell. Before that, a win over David Dvorak. Before that, a win over Tim Elliott. I just think Nicolau's better. He even has a win over Manel Kopp. He's kind of patient striker, likes to just piece people up from the outside, mixes in the grappling a little bit, but not really. And I actually think I picked Perez against Figgy, which is crazy thinking back now. But I'm not picking a guy who hasn't won a fight since 2020. He has okay striking. He has okay takedown defense. But I see Nicolau just picking him apart at range. I think Perez is going to get frustrated, start marching in, throwing big shots. I think Nicolau is just going to get the better of him on the feet. I think he's going to land it well. I think he's going to circle, land some more. I could see Nicolau getting a finish. I could see him getting a finish. I'm not going to predict a finish. I'm going to go Nicolau via decision. And I think it's going to be a competitive fight, but it's going to be a clear-cut decision for Matheus Nicolau. I think he's going to piece up Perez on the feet. I think Perez's confidence is completely gone. You know, he's getting up there in age, but not crazy. He's only 32. But, I mean, imagine showing up for work, you know, over the last 4 years and you have no success. Where's your confidence at? He just lost to Mokaev. I think Nicolau is better than him on the feet. I think Nicolau has good movement. I think the apex cage, the smaller cage, does favor Perez a little bit if he wants to try to grapple, which I think he probably will try to grapple because Nicolau's very frustrating on the feet with his footwork. But overall, I think Nicolau just picks him apart at range. Maybe Perez has a couple moments, and then Matheus Nicolau just wins like a 49-46 decision or even a 50-45 decision. I think if Perez wants to win, he's going to have to win by KO. And also, he's taking this on short notice. It was originally supposed to be Manel Kopp. He didn't fight that long ago. I mean, he fought a month and 2 weeks ago, so he's probably still in shape. But you never know. Some guys get vastly out of shape after their fights. But overall, I'm going to go Matheus Nicolau via decision, circling at range, popping the jab, sticking and moving against Perez, busting him up, and never really getting a crazy big shot, never looking for a finish, no finishing sequence. I just see Nicolau. Nicolau only really takes the finish if it absolutely presents itself, and I don't think that it's going to present itself. Perez is pretty durable, and he's not like super easy to submit either, so I think Nicolau just gets it done via decision. And that's it. That's it for UFC Vegas 91. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And thank you so much for watching.